Hi guys, this is Katrina here with RoofSnap.
And Jason, and today we have for you another hands-on demo. Katrina, what are we going to talk about today?
So today, let's go over how to fix a poorly drawn sketch here in RoofSnap.
And this happens all the time, especially when you're the admin of an account or a production manager and somebody has submitted a drawing to you as a project here in RoofSnap and it just doesn't look quite right. We're going to zoom in and move around and we see we have a few crooked lines. But what you want to check at the very beginning to kind of test the accuracy of a drawing is just to go right into facets. So when I tap into facets, we're going to see that many of the facets here are shaded. And yet, if I go to the Remove tool, which is already highlighted here, and I tap on this facet pitch label and turn it off, you'll see that all of those facets are linked together to one. So something's not quite right. And in fact, here we'll find that many things aren't quite right. So let's begin to zoom in and look at one area at a time. To start with, on this rear section, when I go to facets, it looks like this lower, let me turn the facets off a second, this lower roof, these two roof planes here are connected to the eave of an upper roof. There's no step wall coming down either side. This is an inaccurate method for drawing the roof. You don't want to connect. You can even see here that the eave was drawn off and connected at the bottom of a rake of an upper story roof. So when you have many errors, many things that are drawn incorrectly, sometimes your best bet is to go into edges. And one, you could start with just deleting all and start from scratch. Sometimes that's the fastest way. But if it's close, you may just want to delete a few edges. So we have that highlighted, and we're going to go in and just delete out a couple of these lines that we already know aren't connected correctly. Here in the front, most of it's looking pretty good, but once again, it looks like this front eave here is connected to a roof story that is well above in elevation than where that eave is. So let's go back to edges and delete that one. Oh, looks like that rake edge is connected to ridges that are in two different planes. So let's go ahead and delete that rake. We're going to need to redraw that, and that ridge, we're going to need to redraw that. Let's come over here and take a look. So, we do have a line that was drawn that wasn't actually connected to the bottom of this valley. So let's go ahead and delete that one. We'll end up redrawing it as well. We have a crooked line here. We can straighten that up without redrawing it, and a crooked line here. And then a section in the back that, well, just wasn't drawn at all.
Uh-oh. Might be a little short on your squares there.
Absolutely. So first of all, I'm going to go back into, actually I'm going to zoom in on this first area here. I want to straighten up this rake and get this top ridge where it needs to go. So I'm going to go into the draw mode, put my cursor on the screen and let it sit there for like half a second. It's called the pickup time. And the pickup time can actually be adjusted. So if we go into settings, we can slide the cursor pickup to be greater than a second or less than a second. Right now it's set at exactly 1 second. And that's where I like it, so I'm just going to hit done and leave it there. Now, let me zoom down. I'm going to pan and zoom a lot. Oh, you know what? It looks like this rake is not actually connected to, in fact, that's actually a good thing. That is the lower plane. Looks like there was a wall there at some point. So I'm going to delete that one out, because that line doesn't need to be there. And delete that out. Oh, sorry guys, forgot to go back into edges. Oh, we've got one more. There we go, delete that out. Because this needs to be a continuous line from the bottom of this rake, and let's use 90 mode, see if we can keep things straight. There we go. And we'll take it all the way across. And again, you're looking for that larger red circle that lets you know that you're connected. Now, as we begin to close in some of these facets, let's use the facets setting here, the facets mode, to make sure that things are shading as we go. So let's come down here. Well, to start off with, let's go back to draw, hover over this point a little bit. We need to raise that up and get those valleys actually in the center of the valley. And then let's bring this rake down the left side. To do so, we need to delete that little guy there and bring this rake down the left side. Go to facets. Okay, now we're starting to see a separation of facets and an individual pitch label for each facet.
Good. What's going on with that valley back there? Looks like it's just kind of hanging out.
Yeah, and I was also taking a look at this ridge because it looks like this is a continuous line. Let me go to the draw tool and see. Are there any points along the way here? What is that?
Doesn't look like it.
Can I pick that up? No, no points there. That's a continuous, yeah, one measurement. That's a continuous rake edge all the way down. Well, whenever you draw a rake, it needs to be split at the ridge line. So let's come up here to the ridge, and then let's draw the ridge over. And we're not going to connect the ridge here to this line. We're actually going to go past a little ways. You always want to go past in order to account for your overhangs. And then a step wall that comes down here. And that step wall is going to connect to that valley. So let's put it right on the valley. You know what? I apologize. I'm going to have to zoom in a little bit. My poor eyesight. There we go. And there we go. Connect it right on. But then, grabbing and holding on that point, we are going to move it over a bit, begin to create that overhang.
Gotcha.
I'd say about right there looks good, and then that final little connecting line there. And we're going to square that up as best as we can here, bringing that over and then down a bit. So we haven't closed that in yet. We do need to draw this last rake that comes down and connects at the bottom of this valley. And then we need to move it over and connect to there. And we've got a little bit of repositioning to do. So let's bring this one over a little bit, and then let's bring this one down a little bit and get everything nice and horizontal and vertical as best as we can. All right, facets. Uh-oh, something's still not connected here. Is that connected, Katrina?
Looks like it.
Okay.
Let's
go to facets one more time. Oh, that one had been removed at some point.
I see.
Interesting. All right, well, while we're here, let's straighten up the left side, or excuse me, the right side, or the bottom side of this step wall. Trying to get everything nice and pretty. Now where this eave had previously been connected directly to the rake, we are, once again, going to go past, draw up, and I like to actually split this and make this two lines, and then we'll just move it in a little bit, make it nice and, well, about as even as we can.
Yeah, and this way we're not connecting that bottom roof plane to the top, but separating those out, and when we tap on facets, now we've got that overhang.
One last repositioning section here. Grab this one that was drawn a little bit crooked. Press and hold, leave it for about a second. It will pick up. And bring it out and make it nice and square. Okay, now the last bit that we need to do is finish out the rest of the drawing with proper overhangs. And you may have seen us draw this roof in the past in our dormers and overhangs video. So here, I'm going to draw down at the eave edge, but I'm going to continue past about a foot. Now we can draw the rake up and stop at the ridge. Always stop at the ridge and draw those ridges in. Don't do one continuous line for up and back down a rake. Two separate lines for each side of a gable. My whole device is sliding left and right.
We need to get one of those fancy stands.
There we go.
All right.
Zeros on both sides. Double shading there as well where the overhang exists. And this last bit here is pretty much the same that we just did. I'm going to turn 90 mode off for a second so that we can start our line precisely where we want to be. There we go. Now we can turn 90 mode back on and continue over to the ridge.
All right. Finish up that back section there. 90 mode grabs that point so we don't have to guess. Wonderful.
There we go. So that is a much more accurate drawing. Now, in terms of accurate drawings, though, lines, specifically valleys and hips and rakes, and step walls, will grow and get longer when they're labeled based on the pitch of the slope that they're connected to.
Yes.
So none of the measurements that you'll get from a roof with all yellow lines and 0.12 pitch will even be close to accurate.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and take care of that real quick. Let's just assume, for the sake of this demo, that the pitch on this entire roof is a 7/12. There we go. And then let's go in and label up the lines. Now eaves, they won't grow, but it will provide more accurate measurement details when you generate your measurement report.
Mm-hmm.
Rakes, for example, though, if we zoom in here on this large rake edge, right now it says, what, 18 feet?
Mm-hmm.
Well, watch what happens when I go ahead and apply the rake label to that line. It grows by almost 2 feet based on that 7/12 pitch. So you get the gist. I'm not going to go in this demo and label up every single line, but you see the value and importance of putting on all of your labels and all of your pitch values in order to get the most accurate measurements possible.
Absolutely.
If you have any questions, especially when you're drawing a tough roof, if you need a little help, give us a call or send us an email. We'd be happy to talk you through it over the phone or possibly schedule you for a live one-on-one training if you need a little extra help in learning how to sketch here in RoofSnap.
Absolutely.
At the end of it all, if DIY, draw it yourself, measurements is just not your thing, always keep in mind we do have a sketch ordering service where we will draw the roof for you.